My name is Kenzi Carson, and I'm 23 years old. When I graduated high school, I got accepted to enroll here at Orlando, Florida. And immediately when I got here, I got caught up in the whirlwind of college peer pressure. Drugs and alcohol just became my best friend. My physical health was really taking a toll on me, and God spoke to my mom first and said, "You need to move up to Orlando or you're going to lose your daughter." And I didn't want to move with her, but she moved me out, and I was on probation for school because I wasn't attending any classes, so I was failing, and I just knew I had to get my life together in some way, shape, or form. And so I decided to get a job as a therapist for children with autism, which is still my current job today. And this job was in Winter Garden. And as I'm going to work every single day, I would see this church get built up called Lakeside. And that's when it dawned on me that I haven't been to church in 5 years. I haven't prayed to God, I haven't thought about God. Honestly thought that God didn't love me anymore because I was knowingly sinning, and the enemy just brainwashed me that there was no way God could forgive me. And I just remember telling myself, when that church gets built up, I'm going to attend. It was 10 months ago when I hit the rawest spot of my entire life. I didn't know myself, I didn't recognize myself. I just knew that if God didn't love me, how can I love myself? That the enemy was just controlling me at this point. And I sat in the parking lot drinking what I imagined to be my last coffee, and I'm just sobbing and I'm screaming and I'm crying and just uncontrollably, I had no control of my emotions at this point. And I remember just being milliseconds, super close from just ending it all. And through my loudest cry, I just heard the softest voice, and it was Jesus. And he said, "Let's go for a drive." And I was like, "A drive?" I'm in my pajamas, I just rolled out of bed, and I didn't realize he was talking to me. And I put my car in drive because I imagined this would probably be the last conversation I would have with him. And I remember my eyes were just so blurry. And as soon as he drove me to a high school, my vision was clear as day. And as I get to this high school, I put my car in park, and I can see these green flags just waving Lakeside. And it just dawned on me, I was like, Lakeside sounds so familiar. And it took me maybe 3 seconds after that to notice that God didn't bring me to a high school, he brought me to church. And it wasn't just any church, he brought me to Lakeside, the same church I saw getting built up, just a different location. God knew that I physically couldn't and mentally couldn't drive the 15 minutes to Oakland, but I could drive the 4 minutes to Mineola. And I remember just sobbing in my car in my pajamas, and by the grace of God, church was just about to start, and he said, "Go in." And I walked in, and I went to that tent that says "new" here, and me just holding that green box, just notifying people that I was new, immediately love was just poured into me. And I walked in my pajamas, and I sat in the front row, and that was the day I gave my life to Christ. I completely surrendered to him. Fast forward to now, which is 10 months later, I did Grow Track, and I serve at Lakeside Kids. I will say that 2 Corinthians 12:9, it talks about God's grace, and it says when you are weak to allow God to be strong, but don't resent him for putting you through that weakness. If you feel far from God or feel like he doesn't love you or he doesn't hear you, I will say the best advice that I could give you is just being still. Because I know that even though I was crying so loud, I was able to hear a whisper. God is with us at all times, and God is the flashlight. That tunnel can be so dark, and when you're ready, he will pick you up and lead you to the light and lead you to the end of this dark chapter. And I will say, just get plugged in. Don't be afraid to go in your pajamas and walk into church, because I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad that I could sit here and say that I'm sober and I'm saved.